Hello, 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 hello. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Hello, let's be extra. How are you? My computer, let me find my charger because I do not want for my computer to go dead while I am live. So, excuse me a minute while people are joining. Let me make sure everything is working properly. If you are joining me, I'm glad I checked because I was not live on Facebook. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. This is live, guys. So I know over the last week or so, we've been doing some replays on some of our most watched, I guess, broadcasts. And so today I wanted to come live because I have an important topic that I want to discuss with you guys on codependency, hyper independence, and interdependence. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So thank you so much for joining. I wanted to make sure all of my stuff was connected. I've been missing you guys. I absolutely love going live. I love the interaction. I love being able to see people. Well, you guys can't see me, but I can see your names. And so I absolutely love the interaction of going live. So if you're with me, let me know where you're joining from. Where are you joining from? Hi, Dr. Mac. How are you? How are you? Let me know where you're joining from. Now, y'all know when I'm live, I don't know what it is about the comments. I'm going to see if I can open up some other screens here so that I can see everyone's comments. Because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Facebook that it will not let you see everyone's comments. And then I'm also streaming from another device where I should be able to see everyone's comments. For some reason, I can't see everyone's comments. But as of always, I always go back. Hey there, congratulations, sis. Congratulations on the marriage. Congratulations. So, but I always go back and look at my comments. You guys know that. Hey, Yolanda. Hey, Yolanda. Okay, so this topic, y'all, I was literally writing. If you're not on my email list, you need to be on my email list. 'Cause yesterday, I sent out an email. Let me bag back. Y'all, I'm so excited. I just kind of jumped right on in. Let me bag back. For those who do not know me, my name is Dr. Tiffany. I am a trained marriage and family therapist. And I also am a small business owner of Old to New Creations, Dr. Tiffany and Dr. Tiffany Ross Coaching and Consulting. And our goal is, especially with our coaching and consulting, now Old to New Creations, I'm gonna have to come back and tell you guys a little bit about that because we're heading in a direction that I would want to share with you guys because it's been unfolding. And I've been just kind of putting bits and pieces out there. But for our coaching and consulting business, we work with women who are healing and recovering from traumatic relationships. So those traumatic relationships are relationships where there have been some type of or some form of abuse present. It could be some kind of toxic situation. But typically, when we're talking about trauma in general, there is some form of abuse present. And a lot of times what I found in working with my clients is that a lot of it is not physical abuse. Some of it may be sexual abuse from the past, but when we're talking about relationships, a lot of what we see present is that it's emotional abuse, and we don't do our due diligence enough, I feel like, in the mental health community to talk about emotional abuse and what that looks like in marriage, and actually labeling it for what it marriage and relationships, and actually labeling it for what it was and for what it is. And so what you'll see is a lot of words being thrown around, especially on social media and the news, and you'll see stuff like narcissist being thrown around, and gaslighting being thrown around, and you'll see those words being thrown around. But what you don't see it labeled as in relationships is what it is abuse. It is a form of abuse. It is control, manipulation. It is abuse. And so I work with women who are healing and recovering from those, what I label them as, is relationship trauma. They actually still may be in the relationship when I work with them. And to be honest with you, the majority of women that I work with are literally in relationships or coming out of relationships that were just traumatic for them. And so we talk a lot about, like, how do you move past it? How do you heal? How do you give yourself space to heal? And so that brings me to the topic that we're talking about today, which is on hyper independence, codependence, and interdependence. And I hope by the end of this, you'll be able to label which one you tend to see yourself gravitating towards in relationships. And then we'll talk about trauma, because I mean, why would I be someone who focus on relationship trauma and not talk about how some of these are related to or could be a trauma response? So let's dive into that. Let's start with the first one, hyper independence. Now, we'll see this a lot. How do I say this? I'm going to come from the standpoint that I know how to come from, which is my own experience, and also some clients that I've interacted with, and just being, let's be real honest, a Black woman. A lot of times we're labeled as strong and aggressive and angry, and well, when it comes to being hyper independent for Black women, usually that is the label that is attached to that. So let's talk about hyper independence and actually what it is. So hyper independence is when you absolutely cannot rely, or feel like you cannot rely on anyone else. So everything is, well, I do this, and well, I got this done, and I did this on my own, and no one helped me, and no one showed up for me, and I just had to keep pressing. And it's the foundation of it is I can't rely on anyone. I can't trust anyone. And this is something that I have to do for myself. And so you create this world in which, and some of it actually is because you can't rely on anyone, which is why we'll talk about it being a trauma response, because you grew up not feeling like you can rely on anyone, or not feeling like anyone would ever come through for you, or being abandoned or rejected by the people who actually should have come through for you or should have taken care of you, or these people didn't. And so as a result of that, you have grown up, whether through school. A lot of these people are very successful because they push forward, and they I don't want to say perform, because perform is not the best word to use there, but they actually do well in whatever their careers are in school, like, but they actually do well in the public arena. Let's just say that in the public arena, but in their private relationships, they don't do so well in those relationships because they struggle with trusting that someone is actually going to show up for them, or that someone is not going to reject them, or that their partner is not going to reject them. So that's one form of hyper independence. And I'm trying to be careful with my words, because I definitely don't want to offend anyone, but I want to convey what it is that I'm saying. So they're hyper independent in that they trust that they're the only people that can show up for them consistently. And so as a result, they create a world, a life in which they're the ones that's going to show up for them consistently, and they can't trust that anyone else is going to do that. So what that looks like in a relationship is them not being able to form a connection with their partners, because in order to be in a relationship, it takes vulnerability. And another part of that is because they have not healed from the original abandonment or rejection from the parents or the people that should have showed up for them, that should have taken care of them, where they didn't have to learn how to just depend on them. Well, what happens is they usually attract partners that are inconsistent and that don't show up for them and don't know how to really to be what they really want, which is someone that can show up for them or someone that can actually meet them halfway, or partners that are consistent, or partners that are loving. They actually attract that because it's a part of them that has not healed from that original abandonment or rejection from the people that should have showed up for them. So then that leads me into the other spectrum of that, which is codependency. And when we're talking about codependency, a person who is codependent actually relies too heavily on their partner inside of the relationship. So you'll see this, at least for the clients that I see, what I see a lot of times, or what I hear them say a lot of times, is that they're the ones that do everything in their relationship, or they're the ones that their partner always rely on them, but they can't rely on their partners, or they're the ones that are usually the doormats, and people, especially in relationships, just run all over them because they don't. No matter what you do, you're going to be there. I can go cheat on you 5, 10 different times, but I know at the end of the day, you can come back to me because I'm not going anywhere. Well, why don't you go anywhere? What is the basis of that codependency? Why do you feel like you have to stay in order? That's the word. Okay. I'm moving ahead of myself. So why do you stay? I'm just going to pose that question. Why do you feel like if you find yourself in this codependent relationship, why do you feel like you need to stay in that, despite the fact that your partner is not showing up, despite the fact that you are carrying the load of the relationship? You're the one always planning. You're the one always doing. You're the one that's always showing love, compassion. You're the one always giving in the relationship. Why do you feel like you need to stay in that relationship? Well, this is where we talk about trauma, because people who are codependent typically grew up in families where they had to they felt like they had to perform in order to get love. So they learned love is about doing. Love is about doing. So if I do enough for you, or if I do this, or if I go after you hard enough, or if I show you that I love you by doing all of these things for you, or by staying even though you mistreat me, if I show you, if I could just do enough, if I can just show you enough I'm worthy of love, that you'll stay. So the foundation of that also is rooted in abandonment and rejection. It all goes back to how you grew up. Well, a person who was codependent probably grew up with parents who the only way you can get their attention is by doing something. And so you might have also performed very well in school, or you also may have done things, or you may have acted out, or you may have done things because you wanted their approval or you wanted their love. And so now you're in relationships where you're doing, or you're staying and remaining and not setting appropriate boundaries because you don't want to be alone, or you're hoping that one day they'll wake up and they'll actually see that you're a good person and that they'll stay because you've sacrificed all these things for them. But the thing about codependent relationships is the person that's codependent gets to feel needed. That gets to feel needed. It's an interaction. When we're talking about relationships, it's actually a dance. So even though you're getting something out of it, what you're getting out of it may not actually be good. So you get to feel needed. You may not, you may struggle with being alone. And so you get to not be alone, even though in reality you're alone. When you're dragging a person along and you're having to pull them and you're the only one showing up, in reality, you're just doing that relationship alone. because a relationship requires two people working together to move the relationship forward. It requires two. Let me back. Two healthy individuals working together on a common ground in order to move the relationship forward. But if you have a relationship where you're only one person is showing up and you're having to drag that person along, then you don't really have a relationship. It's you don't really have a marriage. And it's the same way with hyper independent people. If you're the one that's always doing, and you can't trust the person the come alongside you and help you, and or the person to come alongside you, and that they're going to be there on consistent. If you can't trust that person, you're just in the relationship by yourself. So that leads me to the last one, which is the interdependent relationship. And these are the relationships that we all should strive to, even if you kind of find yourself in being or being in one of those other categories. Where we should strive to is a more interdependent relationship where, like I say, both partners are showing up, both partners are doing the work. If you both have some issues, some past issues or traumatic stuff that's happened in your past, then you're both working to overcome those issues, hopefully with a therapist, or a counselor. You're working to work through your trauma issues so that you both can show up in the relationship, and the relationship can be a healthier relationship, and you both can meet each other's needs, wants, and desires, and you're not in competition for each other's love, and you don't have one pulling the other, or you don't have one just completely doing their thing and not taking into account the other person. An interdependent relationship is a healthy relationship by which both partners are showing up. And if you're in a relationship where 100% of you is not showing up with 100% of them, then you're probably you're probably going into one of those other categories, or falling into one of those other categories of being in a codependent relationship or being hyper independent. So these are some things. I didn't want to take a whole lot of time, but number one, I missed you guys, so I wanted to show up live today. Like, I was tempted to say, "Oh, I just do another replay," because I got some work that I need to get done. But I said, no, I wanted to show up live today because I really wanted to teach on this topic. Because I see it so much, and I think because we normalize so much in our society that we don't label things for what they are. And I'm guilty of this because I see it so much in the people that I interact with, in the clients that I interact with. I see it so much. Women, especially for women, and I'm just saying this because I'm a woman. I can't speak for from a male's perspective because I'm not a male, but I can speak from what I see, and I can speak from my position as being a woman. So what I see in our society a lot is a lot of responsibility of relationships being placed on women. And the responsibility of a relationship is not placed on just one partner alone. It is not. And so if you're in a relationship where, oh, I got to hurry up and get home so I can cook and clean, and I'm doing this, and I go work full time, and I got to do this, and that. And if I don't do it, then who going to do it? And ain't nobody going to do it. And I got to go see the kids, and I got to make sure the kids get to where they need to go. And I got to do this. And it's all and you have a partner there, but the responsibility of the partner is just to go to work and come to the house, and you're taking up all of the other slack. Then you don't have a good relationship. You do not have a partnership by which there's equal partnership. That is not an equal partnership. That's not an equal partnership. If you're taking on the bulk of the load of the relationship, then it's not a healthy partnership. What you're doing is setting yourself up to die early. Let's just be honest about that. And I think some of these things that we need to unlearn, because we're teaching or have been. I think we're entering into a new generation of women who are are doing things a little bit different, because number one, they're embracing therapy and they're doing their due diligence to go get the help that they need, and they're hiring people to kind of help them work through some of those things. So there's a new generation of people that's showing up, and a new generation of men that actually are embracing going to therapy. And so we're seeing some of those gender roles change a little bit, a lot actually, and it's a much needed change, because the responsibility of a relationship, of a family, of all of that shouldn't fall on one person. What it should fall on is the person that's stronger in that area. So if you have a partner that's stronger in one area, if your partner is stronger in one area than you, then let him or her do it. If they're stronger in cooking and you can't cook, you can't boil water, and you don't know when an egg done when you boiling it, then let the person that can cook. And that's completely okay. But for you to continue to burn up stuff because of gender roles that may be passed down from culture to culture, from society or whatever, just for the sake of carrying it on, because well, my mama did this and my aunties did this, and this is the way we did things in our family, and it worked for them back in those days. Well, we're in a different age now. We're in a different age now. So if you have a partner that is stronger in an area than you, then let them do it. Just let them do it. But if you're having problems with releasing that control in a particular area, then we need to go back and figure out, well, where did this come from? Why are you having a problem? Why are you having problems with trusting that the person can do what they can do? Like they go to whole work every day, doing the very same thing at work every day, and they can't come home and do it. Like, something wrong with that. And we see this in organizations. Like, these people have credentials to do certain jobs, and I'm just flow with me. Just flow with me, okay? Flow with me. But you have all these credentials and you have all these experiences and all, but then you get into certain places, and they want to micromanage you, or they don't trust that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. Like, it's something wrong with that. Release control. Release. We have to get to the place where we're releasing control, and we're operating, even in our families and in our relationships, we're operating in a manner that fits who we are, not just based on what traditionally has been done. So if they can manage their finances, let them. Who cares that somebody, granddaddy or great grandmama, said that the man should handle the finances? Who creates these things? Who creates these things? But a lot of the times we need to go back and undo some stuff that has been passed down generationally, so that we can heal and we can operate and function in relationships in a healthier way. So thank you for flowing with me. Because I know that was a little, I see so much stuff. I see so much stuff. I encounter so much stuff, and I feel like sometimes we we major in minors, in things that do not matter. But what does matter in a relationship, if I could just kind of bring that back to a relationship, what does matter is that both partners are showing up in the relationship, that 100% of you is showing up with 100% of them, and that you all, or that you both, it shouldn't be all, it should be both, are able to come together and create a plan to move your relationship forward, to move your family forward, and to move both of your dreams forward. Not one person dreams over the others. Not no, that you both should come together and be able to move your both of your dreams together. Will that take sacrifice? Absolutely. Will it take compromise? Absolutely. But it does not mean that I stay back here while you go up there and do you. No, a relationship should be healthy enough where you both can operate. My pastor says it, in your metron, You both can operate in whatever you were designed and created on this earth to do without feeling like the other person is threatened by you, without feeling like that person is taking off and leaving you, because that's abandonment. That's abandonment. Or feeling like you're jealous of your partner. All of that. Let's do away with that stuff. Let's do away with that stuff. Do away with it. And if you're in a relationship where your partner cannot support you, I'm not saying that they won't support you. I'm talking about they cannot, which means that you have tried. Y'all have gone to therapy. You've done what you supposed to do, and that person still is not showing up. Then that means that person cannot. And we have to be real and understand that sometimes, we can meet people where they are, and we can, love them till they get to, we can. And then there's a certain point to where you say, this is dead weight. This is really dead weight. And I have to be honest when this is dead weight and it's time for me to do something different. It's time for me to do something different. So can I proceed in doing what it is that I know that I need to do in order to, I'm all about like focusing on what you were created to do and doing that. Like I'm all about that. That is my heart's passion. It's like you need to focus on what you are designed to do, especially if you're choosing to stay in the relationship. Focus on whether you decide to stay or go. Focus on what you have been designed to do and do it regardless of whether they support you or not. And I know that may not be traditional teaching about relationship, and I really don't care. But I really say that you focus on what you are designed to do, because at the end of the day, you got to answer for what you didn't do. And would I rather flow in being resentful of the other partner because they didn't support me? Do I want to really live my life being resentful of another person and giving them that much power over me? Do I really want to do that? Or would I rather just step out and do what it is that I know that I need to do, that I have been called to do, regardless of whether they'll support you or not? Like we see that floating around all the time. They just may not be your people. Find your tribe. Find your tribe. They may not be the people that's going to support your dreams, and that's okay. But there will be some people that God will allow to come in your life that will. But that's no excuse. It's no excuse for you not to flow and doing what it is that you have been called, designed to do. So I don't know if I have any questions. I know I kind of shared my heart there, my passion there. My desire is to see relationships healthy and to see families healthy, because once relationships get healthy, let's back that up. Once individuals get healthy, once you focus on dealing with your trauma and things that you have went through in your past, once you focus on dealing with that, then guess what? You attract healthier partners. You attract people that you attract healthier friends. You go into healthier environments. You are employed by healthier systems, careers. You actually create a healthier environment. And so once you do that, well, we got healthy individuals. We got healthy families. Well, guess what? We create healthier communities. We create healthier systems within the communities. We create healthier jobs that are built in healthier businesses that are built in a healthy manner. We create healthier churches that are built in a healthy manner. Our community changes, but it all starts with just one person. It all starts with just one person. And that's what we do. That's what we do in our coaching and consulting business is we work with women who are ready. They're ready to move past all of that stuff, all of the past stuff. Even if you are in therapy, our coaching is designed to actually work alongside with you to help provide you that extra level of accountability that, your therapist may not tell you, girl, you need to just get over there and go on. Your therapist probably not going to tell you that. And I'm telling you that because I'm trained as a therapist. It's just some stuff as a therapist, your therapist and your counselor just not going to tell you, but your coach would tell you, girl, if you don't get up, Stop playing victim and go do what it is that you need to do. A coach can tell you that, your therapist may not. So coaching and therapists actually can work together. And if you come to me and our discovery call, which we offer a free discovery call, and I know that you're dealing with some trauma that you have not addressed. I actually was on the call the other day and was digging into something with a potential client and realized, hey, this is stuff that she hadn't dealt with before. This is, we're talking about sexual trauma and physical trauma. We're talking about those things. These are things that she hadn't addressed before. And did I say, girl, let's work together? Yeah, I can help you. Absolutely not. I said to her, go find a therapist. You need to work through some of your trauma issues before you go to coaching. And if you are working with a coach and they're not able to tell you you need to go to a therapist first, then you're wasting your money. That's my rant. But sometimes people don't know that. Like, people don't know that. And that's why you just have to be careful. You have to be careful who you work with, and you have to do your due diligence in vetting them. That's all I'm going to say about that. Do your due diligence, even when you're working with a therapist. Do your due diligence in vetting whether that therapist or that counselor is actually qualified to handle your trauma. Because all clients are not, all therapists are not created equal. All counselors are not created equal. Some of them are not trained in trauma. Some of them don't know anything about how to deal with trauma. Or when you come to them over some things, that some of them are not skilled at even knowing this is a trauma issue versus this is a relationship issue. Some of them aren't skilled to know how to do that. So do your due diligence to vet who's helping you. Do your due diligence to vet. So let me check the comments and see if I have questions. Also, see, I'll see y'all. I went over, it's like 105. I was planning on being done in like 15 minutes. But, once I told you I love being live. Once I start, I just kind of went on. And here we are 30 minutes later, 15 minutes later, and we're still going. But let me check and see if I have any comments whatsoever. Oh, thank you guys. Look, I'm just seeing my comments, y'all. I was just flowing. I wasn't even looking at the comments. So yes, Patricia says, wow. Maisha says, woo, yes. Yes, true. Amen. Yes. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to just drop them in the comments. You can drop them in the comments. I know some of your questions may be very personal in nature, which is why we created where we can do our discovery calls, and we can meet 30 minutes with you. And it's an absolutely free discovery call. In that, I don't really hold back. I don't hold back when I'm talking to people anyway, because it's just my personality, because you just never know. Like, I live under the conviction that what if I never see this person again, and what I say to them matters. And so at the discovery call, we'll spend some time. We spend about 15 minutes. I'm listening to you. And then the next 15 minutes where I'm offering you feedback and I'm giving you suggestions. And we created that, and that's absolutely free. If you message me, I'm usually really good about having that conversation, even in the messenger, because my goal is I want to see people heal. Like, my motto is heal, recover, rebuild. That's the goal. Heal, recover, rebuild. And I'm hoping in the near future that we'll be able to do that on a much different scale. That I'm so excited. We're actually in the works, because my passion is working with teen moms, because I was a teen mom at 15. I got pregnant at 15 and then again at 18. And I tell my story all the time that, I was going through some trauma stuff that no one had absolutely no idea that it was trauma, and they didn't know how to ask. They didn't ask because they didn't know how to ask, which is why generational trauma, I talk a lot about generational trauma, because when there's generational trauma in your family, then some of the stuff is just passed down, and no one is aware enough to say, what's going on with you? Something's wrong. We need to get you some help. Because to them, it's just normal. This is just how our family flows. But at some point, And I believe a lot of you that are on here are just generational, what we call generational cycle breakers, where you say, it didn't start with me, but guess what? It stops here. It stops here. So I think I have it in the comments. If not, I may be able to pull it real quick for those who would love to schedule or like to schedule a discovery call with me. I can get that done right now. But I was telling you guys that my passion is teen parents. And so a friend of mine, we're working on providing some services for teen moms. So that is to come. Whew, I literally tear up every time I think about it. Okay, let me know if y'all got that in the comments. I'm not sure if it's posted. So just let me know if y'all got that in the comments. I'm gonna post it 2 different ways here. Yes, come on, generational cycle breakers. So I posted 2 different ways. So y'all just let me know if it comes in the comments. But it's my passion to work with teen moms. And so I literally tear up. I was this was laid on my heart. The Lord laid this on my heart about last year sometime. And I was like, okay, well, we're not supposed to do that. I'm just kind of, how you just kind of store things in the back of your mind. And you're like, okay, well, maybe that's going to come down the line, until it just kind of like the urge came like a couple months ago, like, no, this is something that you need to do right now. So I'm having to put some things on hold in my business so that I can create some other programs. And so, which is why, I was rescheduling some of the broadcasts, because some of the things that I needed to get done, that I had to get done. And in the process, I have some invites and workshops that I will be doing. And so, yeah, the having to multitask is very strong, but I always block off time so that I can meet with coaching clients. So I love you guys so much. I'm not going to hold you anymore today. I hope you've heard my heart for this, and I hope you were able to find where you are inside of whether you're hyper independent, whether you're codependent, or hopefully interdependent. If you're falling within those first 2 categories, that you are doing the work, my friend, that you can do the work where you can move into more of an interdependent relationship, because that's where we all strive to be. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining on this afternoon, and I'll see you later. Okay. I just saw the comment. I dropped let me write your name down, and I will, just in case you didn't get the link, I will message you directly. Okay. I got you. All right. I love you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Have a good afternoon.